Just tell her what you want.
Got it.
See, we got an annex, so both. My bag down there?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Wait, what was that?
We'll put a drop on.
We got it live.
You got mine?
Online.
Live.
Hello, everybody.
I don't even know how to open that up.
That is fine.
I have no.
You ready to go?
Yeah. Now you can start when we talk.
As soon as I fade this out, you got like 6 seconds.
Okay.
How y'all doing?
Hello, everyone. I know y'all are all nice and cozy in your beds at this time, but this is Ira and my husband, Divine, and we are as one.
As one.
We are so glad that y'all are tuning in with us this late evening, but we're going to have a good time tonight. And we're just going to introduce ourselves. This is pretty much like the intro tonight.
Intro show.
So, yeah, this is the intro show tonight. Again, my name is Ira Warren, and
I'm
this is my
Divine
husband,
Warren.
Fine. Okay.
And together we are.
As one.
Yeah. We just had to say that again. You know, it's just the intro show tonight. You know, first show, giving people an idea of, you know, some of the stuff we'll be talking about. Some of the stuff that we'll be talking about, you know, introducing us to a bigger audience, a different audience.
Yes, yes.
You know, basically the show will be about relationships overall, but not just relationships in general. It's just going to be basically about everything, anything pertaining to life, but we keep it centered from a married couple perspective.
Yes. So we're not doing this from our living room. We started doing videos and, you know, just kind of sharing different aspects of who we are individually and collectively as a couple. And we just started doing, you know, some YouTube videos like in 2015. And I mean, this is something my husband and I both, you know, really wanted to do. Just to, I mean, this helps us to be more transparent and just get ourselves out there, you know, so people, you know, can know that, you know, you could be a Christian, you could be whatever religion that you are, but at the end of the day, you are still human. You still go through a lot of different circumstances. So we just want to just share a little bit about us and how we met, just a little bit. So I'm going to let my husband start first.
You know, it's funny, when we usually tell people the story, you know, we're just going to give you a little bit of our story, but when we usually tell people the story, people sometimes think that we're lying. You know, when we say that, I had to say it was divine intervention that took place.
I would say so, too.
And the reason why I say that is due to the fact that me and my wife actually met on Facebook. And the funny thing was, it was a gentleman that I was friends with on Facebook, and it was somebody from Texas, you know, down her end that she knew personally. And he reached out and said, you know, Ira, you know, this guy does music, this is a guy you need to get in contact with and all that. And so that was the avenue that it was supposed to go. But what happened was, it was like when me and her first started talking, it was like, it was a little something different. There was something there. You know, we started discussing music, and she was saying she was thinking about doing another album, and she had did an album prior, you know, and she was thinking about going back that direction. But when we started conversing on the phone, I think within the first couple of minutes of us talking about that, it just seemed like it was different. It was a little different connection with her, you know, than some of the other people that I had been speaking to, you know, or with music or anything else. And then she started opening up. Now, we went from music and poetry because we both, you know, she sings, I make beats. I'm a poet. She's a poet. And she told me that I was a poet and didn't know it. But that's a whole nother story, you know. And then, you know, we started discussing things, and I'm like, wow. When she started telling me some of the stuff, I'm like, damn, this woman has been through a lot. And in going through a lot, she felt that I was trustworthy enough that she could open up and let me into her world. And that's basically how, you know, our relationship started to develop.
Yeah, I'm going to admit it was a little scary because, I was never the online type of person, but it is possible. You can meet somebody on Facebook.
Yes,
I know a
sure.
lot of people is against it. I could attest to a couple of my friends was like, listen, I'm not meeting no man on Facebook.
Even my mom.
Yeah, because even his mom, she was just like, you met her where? But the crazy thing is when we finally, got the opportunity to meet him when I flew up here to meet him. I mean, it was like we had known each other for years, and I'm not going to say that is rare because it does happen on a day-to-day basis that you just come in contact with somebody and you automatically have that chemistry with them. It may not be on the level in which you would get married or. Sometimes people just have a good friendship and you just remain friends. So to be honest, that's what I thought it was going to be, just us being friends. But then it evolved. And I remember not talking to him for a while because after we talked that one time initially on the phone, I got this text message and he was like, how you doing today, sweetheart? And I was like, who is this? He's like, this is Divine. I was like, oh, hey. And I mean, it was probably about 3 or 4 weeks before we had just actually, said anything else to each other because like he said, we were talking about music and poetry and stuff like that. And I don't know. I've never just been the type of person to just like, okay, I'm just going to tell this dude my whole life story and hope that he's the one. And to be honest, I really wasn't looking to be in another relationship because I was in a long marriage. I was in a marriage for almost 20 years, with my ex. And my thing was, listen, I'm just going to focus on my career, my children, my grandchildren, and I'm not going to worry about being intertwined with, someone else because marriage is work. If you're not willing to put in the work and put God first and all that good stuff is really hard. So I was hesitant. I'm not gonna lie. I was very, very hesitant. And I'm gonna tell y'all why I was hesitant. So I met him September 2013, and then his birthday August 2014. I flew up here. We met. We had a great time. I stayed 4 days. I flew back. And then I flew back 2014, the day after Christmas, which was the 26th on Kwanzaa. I flew back. And I flew all the way back up here to tell him, listen, let's just be friends. I don't think we need to do this. And he just looked at me. And he just said, don't you understand that I love you? Don't you understand that I care about you? And I'm looking at him like, okay, just keep dropping all these wonderful nuggets. I hear what you're saying, but I'm not. I don't know if I'm ready to do this again because I gave 20 years of my life to one person, and I was just thinking, do I want to do this again? And that's how it was with that. But as you can see, my decision didn't turn out to, well, let's just be friends because I wouldn't be sitting here today. Because actually, next month on the 26th, we'll make 2 years that we've been married.
Yeah, definitely. And we gonna make it too. I'm claiming it now.
So with that being said, today is also it. You know what? Today has just been a wonderful day. Just starting out as our first show, and I have twin grandboys, Aiden and Jaden, and Caden. Well, not twins, but I have twin grandboys and then another grandson. Aiden, Jaden, and Caden. The twins turned 7 today, and Caden turned 3 or 4 today. I have so many grandchildren, I can't even remember. And then God just opened up doors, and I talked to my oldest son today, then I talked to my third oldest today. So God is just doing some wonderful things because they actually called me to ask me for some advice about some things that they're going through in their lives. So like my husband said, we're going to be doing, we're going to be very, very transparent. So we want you guys to ask questions. We're not shy. So if there's anything that you want to know about, love, life, or whatever, that's what we're here for because we're going to put things out that people really don't want to talk about. So, Divine, you want to say?
And one of the reasons why we're doing this is because, well, first of all, we had people, let me talk about me for 1 sec. I had people that have been asking me questions for years in regards to relationships. And what used to happen is I would give them my ideas of what I think they should do or what was taking place. And then when I did that, a lot of them would come back to me and be like, Divine, you know what? You were right. Actually, what you said, exactly how you said it, it actually occurred. So one of the reasons why, and I just mentioned that because I don't want people to think that this is something that we just started. Like my wife said earlier, we were doing videos. You know, I was actually doing podcasts as well. You know, the reason why we are doing this, we want to help people.
Yeah.
This is our way of giving back. And like I said, I've been talking to people about relationships for years. You know, it's just funny because it seemed like as I got married, some people started to pull back, you know, from asking me questions. And I can understand. You know, I can understand. I guess some people feel like now that I'm married, they don't want to violate that space, you know, or maybe some stuff that they used to tell me before they don't think is appropriate now because I'm a married man. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do, we're trying to give back. We're trying to help people. We're trying to give some clarity about relationships because a lot of people, they have ideology in their head of how relationships should go and how things should be done. But at the end of the day, I remember one time asking somebody, well, what is a healthy relationship? It was a guy and a girl. And it was so funny because the guy, he had to think, and it was like his mind went blank. He had no idea of what was a healthy relationship. You know, he started to explain about his parents, and he was explaining some of the stuff that wasn't healthy, but when it got to the direction of what a healthy relationship was, it seemed like he was kind of stuck. And I know that he's not the only individual that's like that. So what we're going to do, you know, we're going to ask questions. We're going to open it up so that you can ask us questions. We're going to give you the phone number here. We're going to be discussing different topics. We're going to be discussing things in regards to relationships, marriages, life in general. You know, because one of the things that I think people fail to realize, when you talk about relationships, one of the main relationships that it should start with, other than God, is a relationship with yourself. Mm-hmm. If you don't know how to love yourself, or if you don't know how to be completely honest with yourself, if you don't have no acceptance with yourself, how are you going to pass on love, compassion, and all the other ingredients that go into a healthy relationship? How are you going to pass that on to somebody else if you can't even do it with yourself?
Right.
You know,
and
so.
that's so good because, like I said, when I don't know, I had a distorted view of what love was until I met Divine. I had very low self-esteem, and, you know, he would always say, well, don't your Bible say? And I was like, look, bruh, I don't need you telling me what my Bible say. I'm going through something right now, you know. So I always had this, I had an attitude, but he was always calm. He was always compassionate. But the truth was, I was broken. I still hadn't gotten over a lot of things that I hadn't dealt with my childhood. So I was holding and bringing all of this stuff. You know, it was like a backpack. I had like 100 backpacks on me of stuff that I was carrying around with me from my past. So, you know, I was like, how in the world I'm going to love? He's right. How are you going to love somebody else when you don't love yourself? Because I did get a distorted view, but I was holding on to that distorted view of what love was and who I was, you know, as far as my worth as a woman. And so I admired that about him because, like my grandmother say, you know, real people shoot straight from the hip. They don't cut no corners. They just give it to you like that. Yes, sir. You know, and it is what it is. And he told me, and this was one thing he said to me, and I hadn't heard nobody, Oprah, nobody say this ever. And he said this to me. He was like, you know what, you need to learn, and it might seem minor when I get ready to say this, but it was like a light bulb popped off in my head. He said, Ira, you need to learn how to come to acceptance with what has happened to you. And I was like, what? I said, how am I going to accept somebody molesting me and gang raping me and stabbing me? What you talking about? I had this attitude like I had a right to be mad. Wow. I had a right to be mad at everything that was going on in my life.
You did.
And yeah, even though I had a right, but it was wrong because it was causing sickness in my body. I was always depressed. I was always woe is me. I was telling my sister Z the other night, I said I was having a pity party and I was the only one invited. I had all kinds of stuff going on with me. But he was the first guy that ever had walked into my life and just said, look, sister, this is what it is. Wow. And you need to go and get it together because you my wife and you don't even know it. Like I told him, he was a poet and didn't know it. But I was like, he was like, you need to get yourself together. He was like, okay, these situations in your life happen. But he said, don't you know you can take these things and make it purpose for you. And I had never heard that before. So I was like, okay. So we're really going to dig deep, into things that hold us back, because a lot of times a woman will ask these questions. I want to be in a relationship with a man, but how am I going to deal with this, because I've gone through so much in my life. And we're going to talk about those things, not tonight, but we're going to get into it. And I'm going to tell y'all how I was able to overcome, to become, so that God could use me, to be effective for the kingdom. Because if I'm broken and torn and hopeless, careless, all the lessons, and not the more in Christ, then I wouldn't. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I know it was the God in my husband. I don't put him before God, but I thank God for sending my husband and putting him in my life to, rule with the rod and say, listen, girl, get it together. And a lot of things he used to say to me, it used to hurt, because I was like, I don't need you, telling me what I need to do and stuff like that. But when somebody love you, they come with you with that reproach. They come with that vindication. They come with all that good stuff. And God, like God said, I chasten those whom I love. And so that's how Divine came to me in my life. He didn't go on my page and look. Oh, but I went on his page. I was like, let me see what's going on.
I didn't even look at her picture, to be honest with you. I actually told her that.
I did. I went on his page. I thought he was married. Wow. So that's why I didn't come, because there was a lot of females like, oh, Big D, oh, this. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm not, hey, big petty way, give a dog a bone. I ain't going to get in the middle of what you're trying to do. But, but I always was cordial. I was like, hey, how you doing today, Divine? But I was, like some of the females, they would get on there and be doing the most. But, I was in the back. I was a background singer. I was like, hey, I don't have nothing to do with that. But anyway, he was just that person that God said, okay, I know I got something for you. I got something for you, girl. Hold on. Because you asked me, what's the step? I asked God, said, Lord, what is your will? I'm tired of I wasn't searching for no guy. So let's make that clear. I wasn't searching and looking, but I was with a deadbeat. Let me just be honest about that. I was trying to change this guy to be what I wanted him to be. That's not going to work. So we are going to talk about those type of trying to change somebody, because if a person doesn't want to be changed, they're not going to change. Or if they think that they're okay, then they're going to stay exactly where they are. So
based on what you just said, that's an actual fact. Like, in order for somebody to want to change, they have to recognize that there's a problem.
There's a problem. You better come on here now.
And then a lot of times when people are used to doing something on a continuous basis, they're used to doing something in their life on an everyday basis. They're used to doing something maybe every 3 months or however amount of time it is. It doesn't matter. They have to come to the conclusion in their mind that they're doing something wrong in order for them to change. You could pray over them. You could do whatever you want to do. They have to make a conscious decision to want to do something different, and tying it into my wife's story, when she started telling me some of these things, I said, well, one of the first things, after a while, she used to tell me a lot of stuff of what people have done to her, and I said to myself, are you blaming yourself for some of the things that these people have done to you? Yeah. Because some of the stuff was out of her control. Some of the stuff happened when she was a child, 4, 5, 6 years old. You know what I mean? And it happened when an adult took advantage of her. So I'm saying in my mind, okay, maybe she has it in her mind that due to some action or whatever she did, it caused them to do what they did. But you were a child, you know, and I had to let her know that. I also had to let her know, like I was talking about earlier, about the love. In order to love yourself and love others, you know, you have to start seeing things from a different perspective, because she's coming from a background of being abused, hurt, harmed by the people that loved her. And I said, listen, you're going to have to forgive. And you're going to have some acceptance with it. And I remember the first time I told her that she was going to have some acceptance with some of the stuff she said. She was like, what? How am I going to have acceptance with somebody did to me? And it was wrong. And I said, the only way you'll be able to move past what they've done to you is to have acceptance. You know, that's part of it. I mean, you could pray, you know, you could ask God to help you, but at the end of the day, you have to have some level of acceptance. And then on top of just having acceptance, you have to not stay stuck in the pity party. You know, you have to start moving in the direction of change of your mentality and the direction of growth. And what I mean by growth is not just seeing that everything was partly your fault or you had your hands in it, because at the end of the day, if you're 4 or 5 years old and somebody's molesting you or taking advantage of you, or you're a little bit older and you're raped, that's not because of something you did.
That's right.
That's because of the other individual. You know what I mean? So don't let what they did to you hold you hostage. Because there are a lot of people out here, you know, they have things that are done to them, and then they don't know how to deal with it, and then they start to look outside themselves to find something, drugs, people, sex, gambling. You know, they start to look outside themselves for different vices that they feel that's going to help them, but at the end of the day, nothing is going to fill that space that you have. You know what I mean? You have to come to the conclusion of having acceptance, you know, and just know in your heart that you're still here and things could always get better.
Yeah, and my husband, he's right about that. And I mean, when I was going through all the stuff that I was going through, because a majority of you have heard my story already, and I will share it again because I know this is our first show, but I will share it again. What I want to say is, I wasn't the person that was, I got to go find someone to have sex with to fill this void. My void was food and getting involved in, let me start a business. Every time you turn around, anybody that knows me in Texas, Ira always had a business.
Wow.
So I didn't, and it was something else that I learned from my husband. He was like, and I'm a runner. And all the way up until I moved up here, I'm not going to lie, I'm serious, ladies. I was waiting on Light Bright to do something wrong. I was waiting.
You gotta know. Come on.
I was sitting up here. I wrote it down. I was like, if he do this, A, B, C, and D, I'm out.
Wow.
I was looking for reasons to run, and Devon said something to me when we had a disagreement. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. My husband has never raised his voice at me. If anybody was raising voices, it was me. And I was the one. He said, well, where are you going? I was like, I don't know. I'm just going somewhere. He said, Ira, wherever you go, you're going to take you with you.
No doubt.
And I thought about that. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to take my crazy self with me. I was like, wait a minute.
Down the road
I was like, I can run away from whoever, but I'm still going to be running with that same problem on my back until I turn around and then again have some acceptance with what's going on with me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, all the way up until, I'm being honest, I've been here in March, it'll be 3 years since I've moved from Texas to Philly. I was waiting for Divine to do something crazy so I could have an excuse to go back to Egypt because that's what Texas was to me. God was saying, listen, it was time for you to go. You got to get out of here. And I couldn't understand that. And I was just like, you know, maybe I should have just asked him to move to Texas, and maybe I should. God was like, listen, you asked me my plan. Now you want to reroute stuff. You listen, either you get with this or that, or move around and leave me alone because you're not doing what I asked you to do. But that's how it is when you've been hurt, when you've been broken. I had a boyfriend that was abusive. But at the same time, it was me causing harm and abuse to myself, you know. So, like I said, it's so much I wish I could just say right now. But those are things I want y'all to know about me. Like I said, people say, "Well, we're gonna be transparent," but when you want to be transparent, tell it all. You know, tell the truth, tell it all. Now I ain't gonna be telling y'all private stuff, but you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna tell y'all what's going on with me. Like I said, I was just waiting for him to do something wrong. But, you know, as you can see, like I said a few minutes earlier, I'm still here because he is good to me. I mean, he may not have been what I was searching for or looking for. I didn't know what God was going to do. But like Devon said, he said, Ira, I love you so much, you could look like a baboon, and I was going to marry you. I was like, what?
Because it had nothing to do with the outer. It was the inner.
Yeah, and he was always...
You got to come on with the inner love.
The inner love.
I'm glad she did look kind of good, too. That didn't hurt. That didn't hurt.
Yeah, so, it was that. And so he helped me to understand that it wasn't about the outer, because I was an outer person. I was just like, you know, if he didn't look good, then... I don't want to be with him. You know, that was then. But you know, as you get older, you start to put things in perspective. What matters the most? If he loves God, you know, if he's taking care of his, you know, himself, love himself, taking care of his children in that order, then hey, that's a good thing.
Look, and you know what's really funny? We gonna be joking around from time to time. We're trying to keep it fun, keeping it true to ourselves. And one of the main things that I liked about her was that she wasn't fronting. She wasn't trying to act like she was somebody that she wasn't. You know, she was just being honest and, you know, opening up and telling me how she felt and the stuff that she's been through. And one of the main things I want to say to people, this is one of the things I used to always talk to a lot of people about. I'll be like, listen, if you get into a new relationship, make sure you don't let the representative just overwhelm the whole scenario. In other words, be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you get into a relationship, especially from the beginning, most people tend to be on their best behavior. When you're on your best behavior, the other person that's in the relationship, they get used to that individual.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So now, they got you at your best. Now you opening up doors, tap dancing in front of them, throwing roses on the ground and all that. And they walk. Look, you making sure you step out the door first so nobody comes and attack them and all that. And then 3 months later, you go back to your old self.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that as a joke, but I'm being honest. Just try to be the best person that you can be, but stay true to who you are. Because if this person, or like anybody, if that person tends to fall into, which is always usually what's going to happen, they tend to start to like the person that was, you know, the upfront person, the first person that you let them see. Mm-hmm. When that happens, and then you start to switch up later on down the line, they start scratching their head, looking around crazy like, well, who is this individual? This wasn't the individual that, you know, I signed up for to be with. This wasn't the individual that used to hold the door for me before. This wasn't the individual that we used to hang out with each other and all that. And let me tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm saying this. I wasn't fake from the jump. My wife wasn't fake. She opened up. I opened up. Trust was built. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, when you're in a relationship for a long period of time, and a long period of time could be different lengths of time for whoever it is, but when you get in a relationship with somebody and you're in a relationship for a long period of time, make sure that you still try to stay at the same level that you were prior. You know, don't let things start to get lax now just because you're in a relationship with that individual. And this is like one of the funny things. I had told my wife before she even came here, I said, we talk on the phone and all that because we're not in each other's eyesight all the time. We're not around each other. So we have to be able to talk so that I could get to know you, you could get to know me,
right.
and I know about your day. We was 2,000 miles away, right? So now we're together, you know. My love for her has grown since she's been here. I mean, I loved her before, but my love has grown. You know, I really feel that we're really compatible, and us being around each other, it really shows that, you know. But at the same time, in my relationship and other people's relationships that I speak to people about, they say that things have changed. Okay, now, of course it's going to change because you're face-to-face, but try not to lack in what you used to do prior. You know what I mean? If you used to call her or if you used to give her a kiss before bedtime, continue to do those things.
That's
you know,
right.
don't switch up
because
this is the thing. When you start switching up, you never know. That person may start questioning you.
Right.
Was you just fronting from the jump?
Come on
Was
here.
you just trying to be extra good just to get some? You know, did you really want to be with me for me? You know, all these questions might start popping up in their head. Like my wife said, she said she was waiting. She was just waiting for me to do something different, and I didn't. You know what I mean? So it gave her the ability to open up more. You know, I guess her love and compassion and all that grew for me because she saw that it wasn't no change. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, in some areas, now I'm being straight honest, I have slacked a little. And it's not because of lack of love. It's because we're around each other. Mm-hmm. So I don't call you 20 times a day, whereas I would have before because we were in two different states, you know. Mm-hmm. But overall, from the jump, just be the best person that you can be and open up. It has to be a level of peace in a relationship in order for the woman to feel like the love is being there. Not being there, that the love is there and that things that she is doing is being processed. So women and men, we see stuff from a totally different angle. Women, you know, they want to be loved. They want to know that there is a connection. They want, you know, to tell you about their day. They want to lean on you sometimes, you know. They want the caressing. They want the touching. They want the empathy. You know, they want to feel as though when they say something to you that you're actually hearing them, not like it's just going in one ear and out the other ear. Men, we process information differently, totally different. At the end of the day, we want to be respected. You know, we want it to be like, okay, all men aren't, let me back up a little. All men don't have this thing like, I'm the king of the jungle, I'm the king of this household, so I'm a rule with an iron rod. All men don't have that. But even the men that don't, they don't want to feel disrespected, especially not in their own home.
Right.
You know what I mean? And one other thing I want to say, that level of respect, it's not like the woman has to be on her hands and knees. That's not what I'm talking about. It's just having respect for your man. And men, another thing I want to say, we have this thing within us. I know me growing up, they used to say stuff like, don't let them see you sweat. If you cry, you're a punk. You know, they used to tell me all this misinformed information that still sticks with me to this day. And I know that a lot of men that I've spoken to, and I've been talking to men for years and females for years, men, we have this compartment within inside us that we'll take our feelings and stuff and tuck them in. You know, we may not, a lot of men don't even know how to open up.
No, they don't.
Because we weren't taught that. Some of us was taught that that wasn't the manly thing to do. So I'm just trying to tie all of this into just be yourself. Some of that misinformed information that you know was taught or you heard from back in the days, you're going to have to move some of that to the side. Now, I'm not saying all of it, because some of it could be beneficial to you. But even though it's misinformed, some of it still can have some benefits to it. But at the end of the day, you should love your wife. She should know that. And at the end of the day, a man should be respected and feel respected when he's around his wife.
That's good, babe. That's so good. And I want to say this to, you know, to the ladies, whether you married or not. The thing that I've learned since I've been here in Philly is to become unattached from the things that I was familiar with. I am not Ira Rector, meaning that was my ex-husband's last name. I'm no longer attached to him. I'm no longer attached to Ira abuse, staff. You know, you have to unattach yourself from certain things so that you can become a new person. Because why say, you know, old things are passed away, behold, all things are new, if you still bringing the old stuff into your new life? So you have to become unattached from things that you so familiar with. Because the reason why I'm saying that is because when you start a new relationship with a man or with a woman, I'm talking to the gentlemen and the women, you have to, I hear a lot of women say this, well, when I was with so-and-so, he didn't do all that. Well, why you didn't stay with him?
Yeah.
You know, so you don't want to go into a relationship beating your husband or your fiance or whoever you're with over the head with stuff that somebody else used to do. Because if he was all of that, then you should have stayed with him.
No doubt.
So this is a new relationship. So me and my husband, we do bring up scenarios from, and you know, examples of things that we've gone through with people that we was with in the past. But we dare not to say, I dare not say, well, my ex-husband, he did so and so and so and so, and you ain't. That's totally out of line. Don't do it. You know. So it's some things that I still did. I remember maybe I went there a couple of times, but not to try to hurt him, but I was just like, well, I didn't have to go through so and so and so and so when I was with so and so. Don't do that. You can't do that when you're in a new relationship and you know that it's something that God has put together. And I also want to say this, when I was living in Texas, when I was going through my shift, I was upset. I was mad at God. I was like, what you talking about? Move and all that. I was like, okay, whatever. Divine made sure that my needs was met. And God made sure that I severed every relationship with dudes, whoever, God was like, I don't want you talking to him. I don't want you talking to him. Divine didn't have to tell me that. God was like, I need you to leave these relationships alone. And even though I was 2,000 miles away, ladies, we wasn't even married yet, and he was taking care of me. Mm-hmm. He made sure that my needs was met. And I'm not talking about just materialistic stuff alone. I'm talking about spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all of that. He always made sure that I was good here and here. And that's what I loved about him so much. And I remember he was like, you love shoes, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I do. And he was like, well, give me your address where you stay. And I was like, okay. Well, I said, what are you getting ready to do? He said, don't worry about it. So a couple of days later, I get this huge box in the mail. And my friend Amanda, she said, Ira, you got a present, girl. I was like, a present? And I was like, I wonder who this from. So I run in the living room and I look at the box and it says Divine. And he had sent me this box. So I'm ripping the box like it's Christmas, y'all. So I open up this box and he bought me 2 pair of nice high heel shoes that I still have to this day. And he was like, well, you know what? And he wrote this letter. And he was like, you know what people say when you buy them some shoes, you walk out of their life. I was like, what?
I walk out of mine.
You walk in.
And I was like, I'm not going to walk out of your life. I said, whatever. And then in the card, it was like a card, like we had already gotten married. And he was like, I'm going to tell you something. He was like, though we're not married like on paper, and we, like I said, I was living in Texas. He was living here in Philadelphia. He was like, because God gave me the stamp of approval, you already my wife. And I just got all teary-eyed, and I was like, I was like, wait a minute, this is too good to be true. You know, I was like, escape. I want somebody to teach me. I was like, I was just all out of it. I wasn't ready. I ain't gonna even lie. I wasn't ready because it was so new and it was so different. And I really wasn't expecting, but God, I tell my husband this all the time. I say, God really, I said, no, you're not perfect. You get on my nerves sometimes. I said, but God really outdid himself this time. I mean, he outdid himself, you know, and my husband helps me to grow. I say, if he a pain in the butt, it's because his pain in the buttness is going to help me to grow. It's going to help me to grow.
Not the buttness. The
buttness. I'm going to be using a little ebotics on here. The buttness.
I ain't got to
he's going to help me to grow. And he has helped me to grow. So,
like, I just be trying to have that empathetic ear, you know, because when you hear about all the stuff that somebody's been through, for me, I had to put myself to the side. I had to put what I was thinking to the side and just be a listening ear. Good. A lot of times with men, we have this thing, this is me, I'm definitely one of these type men, that you feel as though you have to solve the problem. When sometime in solving a problem is having the empathetic ear, you know, be a good listener. You know, women don't always want you to come up with, you know, the solution. Sometimes they just want to know that you're listening. Good. And that you're listening with your heart, not just with your ears. You know, and that's good. We have Zarina here, and like I said, she's gonna say the telephone number. You know, y'all can call in or whatever. But this is the thing: we have so many topics, and this is just an intro show. Don't worry, we got I have like over 200 topics written down.
He's a writer, y'all. He reads books. He listens to music every morning.
And I wasn't really looking at the time, but I'm just looking because I want to just say a couple more things, you know, about what we're gonna have on the show. You know, being that this is the first show, basically our show is about relationships with ourselves, other people, and stuff like that. We're also going to have one night that is going to be like poetry night.
Yeah, we're going to spit some
poetry. We can spit, because we both writers, you know.
Come on here.
Yeah, I'm in a book that's coming out in March. My wife's in a book compilation with other people that's coming out in March as well. We're writing a children's book now. I have a book coming out later on this year, a book of poetry and like short stories and all that. You know, so we're writers, but I just wanted to plug that real quick, one of them shameless plugs. But we're going to have like poetry night. It'll be a night that maybe it won't have to be the whole show, but maybe we might read our poetry, or we'll have other people call in and they could say poetry, or they could say some kind words or whatever. You know, sometimes we'll even put up quotes We have a number of topics that we'll be discussing. We'll be talking more about us, you know, giving y'all more insight about our lives. What else? Matter of fact, I can even name some of the topics. I have some written down, just a couple so you could get an idea of some of the stuff we'll be talking about. And I'm just going to name just 5 off top. What is acceptable and not acceptable in a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
What is love to you? How important is marriage? What are some of the changes you think needs to take place in today's society? Another one may be something like religion versus spirituality.
Yeah.
Or how do you know when a friendship has gone too far? You know, this is just a couple to name a few. I have a bunch of them written down in my book. But, you know, we just want you to give a glimpse of, we just want to give you a glimpse of some of the stuff that's going to be coming up soon. But let me tap back into one thing. I'm going to pass it back to Wifey. One of the main things that you have to keep in mind, and I think a lot of people don't think of this, the first relationship that you have, or the first relationship that gives you an idea of what a relationship should look like, is the relationship between your mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that people have to
so
keep in
true.
mind. Is what
I
you
say
see
it to my
in
sister all the
between
time.
your mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
If it was abuse there, from either side, you may think that abuse is an acceptable thing in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If your
Yes.
father wasn't coming home and y'all didn't see him for a week or so, you may think, you may think that if a man doesn't show up, maybe he doesn't have to show up because that was what was presented to you from your dad. If your mom was one of them moms that brought a man home every week and said, this is Uncle so-and-so, this is Uncle so-and-so, this is Uncle so-and-so, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to think that that's the way it should go, but cheating could be in your forecast because that's what you saw.
Yeah.
So the first relationship that we kind of get a glimpse of how a relationship should be is, or how we think it should be, because a lot of relationships are bad between moms and dads. You know, it's that. What if your mom and dad were divorced? What if you never knew your dad? These are all things that I think we're going to have to cover as well. You know, because a lot of people tend not to think about that. And how do I know this? I've been talking to people about relationships and stuff. I was real rap. I was a relationship coach for free. I'm still a relationship coach for free.
Yeah, because a lot of my friends say, Ira, I need to ask your husband a question. And I'll be like, sure, go ahead. And I'm just going to let y'all know now, I'm not one of these, who is that? And who is that? Who you talking to? Listen, we here to be helpers to one another. So I don't want y'all to think I'm some crazy wife that's going to be upset because you asked my husband a question. It's never that. And he knows that about me. So, because I respect the gift that God has given him, you know, to do that. I think he has a pastoral call on his life, but you know, I ain't want to tell him that. Anyway, yes. But yeah, and then we're gonna also you know, talk about you know, blended families. Blended families is such a unique thing because between the both of us, I have 7 children, and my honey has 3. So together we have 10 children and 8 grandchildren. I'm sorry. I just got word today, tears. My son told me that the grandson didn't make it. So. Yeah, so that was really hard for me. But you know what? God is doing some awesome things in my children's lives. And for them to call me on the day of me and my husband doing our new show, they just called to thank me for being their mom. And I was just like, no. I was like, okay, y'all, just stop. I said, I had to say, is this real? Is this you, Eric? Is this you, Joshua? So, I mean, they called me to ask me some questions. You know, my son was like, listen, you know, Mom, I've been with my wife for 10 years. I'm going through some things. I need some advice. And I was like, well, hey, this is a good time for you to tune in on to the show. He said, Mom, I will do that. And it just makes me feel good because, you know, I love my children with everything in me. And when I say children, I mean Divine's children as well. I call them my bonus babies. So if you have a blended family, we're going to also talk about those things as well because, you know, I was shaking in my boots. I was like, is this children going to like me? But I didn't try hard. I wasn't trying to be something that I wasn't, you know, because his youngest son is, like I say, he's another straight shooter from the hip. He just said it like it is. He said, Miss Ira, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah. I said, what's going on? He was like, what if we didn't like you? I said, that would have been okay, but you will respect me. Just respect me, and I will respect you and do the same. I said, but he said, what? But you ain't got to worry about that. We like you a lot, Miss Ira. But I think they like me because of my cooking. I really do.
Yeah. You know, I'm sorry earlier I said about the phone number, but I didn't give it out. We actually put it on the screen, but if anybody would like to call in.
215-782-8464.
And that's going to be another aspect, like we said, of the show, that you'll be able to call in. You can ask us questions. If you have any topics that you think you would like us to discuss, you could put it under, the video, or you could send us, put it on our Facebook page. We just want to keep it open. It's not just about us. Yeah, we're up here talking. A lot of our understanding is working through us so that we can talk to you.
Let me see my phone. So let's see if anybody. Because I see Naj, one of my husband's friends, he said something that
like
was
we
really
said
cool.
earlier, my wife said earlier, just keep in mind, no matter what you do, you can't change anyone. They have to want to change. And try to be with somebody that is really for you. They're for you.
Right.
Not for what you have. I know a lot of people, they get in a relationship. Some women that I know, they'll be like, oh, this guy, he has money, he's going to take care of me and all that. And I'm like, well, damn, is it that you're with him for his qualities, or are you just with him because he has a bankroll? Like I said, the first relationship is very critical. What you see from your parents in the past, that actually could dictate and stay with you for the rest of your life. So if it was bad things that you saw, it's going to be something that you may have to do. You may have to talk to somebody. You may even have to talk to your parents, or just reach out to other people and try to talk to people more about having a healthy relationship. Be upfront about the do's and don'ts when you get into a relationship. A lot of times people get in a relationship with somebody and they don't even know their middle name. They may not even know their real name.
They be like, I know his name is Kenny Boo.
They may not, they be like Kenny Boo.
That's
Drew.
my late
and then
night.
They be like, well, what is their real name? And then you have no idea. So that's what I mean about opening up. Talk about the do's and don'ts. Don't wait for a bad thing to happen 6 months down the line, and then you like, okay, this is something that we shouldn't do. Even if you don't mention everything in the do's and don'ts in the beginning, just have some ideas so that you'll know the boundaries. You know the boundaries. You know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, and another thing I wanted to say too, what I really love about my husband, I said, listen, because I know his best friend is a female, and he took me to her house when I got off the plane, we went straight to her house. He said, listen, this is my friend Kia.
Shout out to Kia.
And every time, I see her, she's like, listen, that's my brother. Da, da, da. I was like, look, I believe you, But he set that tone for me to be open and honest with him. Because my best friend, Adrian Langston, that's my best friend since childhood. We've known each other since 4th grade. And, he's my best friend. And so we let that be known that we're going to have female friends. We're going to have guy friends. But the thing, the key to that is that we know each other's friends. Yeah. And there's no secrets and no inbox secrets and stuff. Because I love people. And he knows that about me. I love people. So I have the Southern hospitality thing. I have the whole, how you doing, love? How you doing, honey? He had a problem with, he was like, listen, you're not going to be calling everybody honey now. You sugar honey buns. And it does slip out with my friends. If they're a guy or if they're a girl, I say, hey, sugar, how you doing, honey? I have nicknames for everybody, so it's not that I'm being disrespectful towards my husband. But if he mention it and he say something, then it's up to me to correct it because I don't want to cause any friction in my marriage. So just like a friend of mine, Jamal, he said, I like your husband. He cool. He put it out there, So, and, so I don't have anything to hide. I don't, say, what you looking at my phone for? Did you touch my phone? What's that? So we don't have those issues. So we're going to talk about, if you got some issues going on in your relationship, whether you're married or you're with somebody and you got the opposite or the opposite sex in your inbox or somebody on your job that you are confiding in and talking to, we're going to talk about those kind of things as well, too, because if you are telling, if you're a woman and you're telling the opposite sex, you know, I got this going on and he tripping and he doing this, and we're going to talk about how you talk to your mate or how you talk to your significant other or your partner. Be careful what you say and how you say it, because sometimes it's really not, you know, what you say, it's how you say it. You know, if I'm tearing you down, if I'm saying something that's, you know, that's not right. You know, I always tell my husband I love him and you know, do things for him, and I'm consistent in what I do for him. So like he put on Facebook this morning, he was like, my wife, she cooked and brought the skillet to the
I thought it, but listen, I'm a witness.
and I do that every day.
Do.
I cook every day.
Yep.
I cook every day. So if my sister come over, she be like,
I'm not waiting to go home. Happy up.
Look, this is another thing real quick.
Yes, you do.
Now,
I be
wifey
so
was
hyped.
just talking about something. Another thing, you got to kill the insecurities.
Oh yeah,
Because
kill
insecurities is like an anchor. It'll weigh down your relationship. You know, it'll definitely weigh down the two people in a relationship. And don't assume. If you don't know something, ask.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you don't know something, just ask. Don't
Don't
make an ass out
ask.
of yourself.
Don't assume.
You know, yeah, don't assume.
You know what? I'm not dealing with y'all.
Another thing, you know, like we're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff, but this is another thing. I
Okay,
wish I would have
too
took heed to
much.
this one. Watch who you have kids with.
Woo!
Now look,
Shundo.
I ain't even go too much further than that, but watch who you lay down with.
Yeah.
You know, because when you lay down with somebody, you usually get up with something. And it could be a number of things you could get up with. You could get up with kids, a disease. You could get up with a number of things. But I'm saying that as a joke, but that's something serious.
Yeah, it is.
Especially
It's
in
serious.
this present day and time. You know, marriage may not be your thing. For us, it was. And the reason why I'm saying this, I watch a lot of stuff on TV and shows and stuff. And there's a lot of stuff going on nowadays. People are coming into churches and other places and same sex, and you know, some people don't even believe in the institution of marriage anymore.
No.
I heard somebody say on a particular show, they said within 25 years or so that marriage might be all the way faded out.
Yeah,
they did say that.
You know what I mean?
They said it's gonna be done.
Not me.
Yeah, they
I'm
said
dead.
it's going to be done. And so that's what we want to do. We want to start the foundation with us. And I know it's a lot of people. You have a whole lot of people on Facebook. I see people get, you know, 3,200, you know, views, and a lot of times they're not even talking about anything.
Nothing.
And they're not even giving you the real. They just because they say
Nothing.
the Lord told me to tell you. Listen, look.
Girl, I'd be like this.
Yeah, I'm gonna
You
tell
can see it.
you.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna tell you about us. We're not gonna
right.
get up here shaking and faking and prophesying and telling you, you know, this
Not
is what it
prophesying.
is. Yeah,
I
because
might
you can
laugh.
prophesy.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we want to talk about those things. We want to
Yeah.
get to the meat of the issues of depression and you know, the things that women go through. So we're gonna have a time where it's gonna be a one-on-one with just me and you ladies. And say what you want to say. Let's talk about, you know, some things. My husband will be here, but it was like, speak out. What's going on with you? Tell us what's going on. Share what's on your mind. You know, why is it that, you know, because a lot of times I was talking to a female friend of mine today, and she said, Ira, she said, if I wasn't a female, I would have married you. She said, you cook, you clean, you take care of your children. I've had a lot of females say that to me, but I don't take it as no homo way, so I don't look at it like that. But and nothing against lesbians, and listen, I don't want y'all to think, oh, Ira, she against, you know, people, because listen, I have nieces and some nephews that are gay, so I don't want y'all to think that I'm just being real. So let me just put it out there. We're gonna talk about a lot of things that, you know, women go through. She was like, "Girl, I just married him because he had a lot of money. He knew I couldn't cook, so you know." And I was like, "Well, sis, you got to bring something to the table other than your weave and your big behind.
Damn.
You got to bring something to the table more than that. You know, this is a good guy that you're with, but you're going to make a good guy bad because of your attitude and what you want him to just come home and just hand you the paycheck. And you don't, I mean, listen, if you can't cook, honey, I mean, hamburger helper is easy. Do something.
And look,
Do something.
Hamburger
And
helper.
another-
I don't care if you go buy a whole chicken already cooked and go make some sides. At least you tried.
offer something. But this is the thing. Another thing, men, we have to learn how to open up. You know, we're wrapping it up, but this is the thing.
But I'm
If you ever look at people podcasts, or if you ever look
Get some
at like
sides.
when it's Facebook Live and it's talking about relationships and stuff, when you look,
Get some sides.
most of the people that you see on there are female.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lack of men who engage in,
Oh.
you know, relationship talk and stuff like that. We have to start opening up.
Yeah.
Stop looking at yourself
Open,
and
open,
being like a sucker
open,
because you're
open.
opening up. You know, that's what women really want. You know, most women, you know, some women may be like, yeah, he too soft, he let me know his feelings and all that. But at the end of the day, wouldn't you really want a man that's able to converse with you, tell you how he feels about you? You know, somebody that want to ask you about your day and really care about what happened to you today. Someone who really wants to rub your back, give you a hug, you know, who's caring and affectionate. I think most women would probably want that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying you have to be all super feminine. That's not what I'm saying. You know, because that is actually going on in today, you know, the infeminization of men as well. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying letting your woman know that you care.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, I hope that you got something, you know, from what we were talking about, what we were sharing with you. Like I said, we'll be discussing topics, and there'll be more to come, you know, as we go on. You know, but I just want to thank Spiritual Connect Radio for allowing us to have our own show, our own
Yes.
slot.
Give it up.
I want to thank Zarina, who's sitting here. She wasn't even saying nothing. Zarina talked.
Y'all just say, you know,
Yes,
I talk,
and
so.
she, you
No.
know,
But I respect your show. I won't.
And I want to thank her, you
To
know.
God be the glory.
And I just want to thank everybody who took the time out to listen and watch. You know,
Yes.
me,
Thank
I
you,
don't actually
guys.
have to be on camera. I would just prefer people to listen. But if you watch, that's a beautiful thing as well. We're trying to reach everybody, you know, and give back to our community any way we can. And this is one of the ways we think we can.
Yes.
all right. Well, y'all, we're going to get out of here. We just want y'all to know that from the bottom of our hearts, we just thank everyone that is supporting us.
Yes, yes.
And just know this is for y'all. It's for us, but it's for y'all as well. Because my husband always say when we're doing things like this, we're giving back. So we're giving of ourselves. And I always tell people when I go out and speak, I don't have a problem giving myself away because I know what God has brought me through and to is going to help somebody else. So we just want y'all to, you know, just have a safe night. Love on your wives, your husbands, your children, you know, and just keep God first in everything that y'all do. And know that we are here. So we may not be on air, and if it's take us too long to get to y'all and y'all want to talk, you can always reach out to us on Facebook. It doesn't matter. You ladies, men, y'all can reach out to us and we can talk and pray with you and, you know, just give you some books or something to read, because we will be posting books that you all can read that has helped us in our marriage.
Quotes.
You know, so, and
That's
quotes
nice.
as well.
That's good.
So we just want to just thank everybody for just listening to our intro tonight. And we love y'all. And this is Ira Warren.
And my name is Divine Warren.
And we
together
are-
we are.
As one. Peace.
Peace.
Okay.